Hi, this is Jim St. Ledger from Intel. Thank you for joining me again today. In our podcast series on network transformation, we've talked about many things. Today, we're going to talk about one of the driving forces behind some of the software that's enabling this transformation: open source. Open source communities work together to innovate new ideas and technologies. Groups of programmers, architects, testers, marketers, they're all working together in tandem to create technology and communities of contributors and adopters that are ever growing and evolving. This kind of collaboration leads to many things, including faster and more effective innovation than traditional R&D labs, bringing customers, partners, developers all into a community of purpose to solve shared problems together. It also leads to contributing code that can be leveraged across different types of projects. You also get cost savings through shared knowledge and experience between peers. Open source communities have long played a key role in the ongoing evolution of software-defined networking and network functions virtualization, and in turn, the transformation of the way networks get architected and deployed. Open source developers and testers are hard at work creating interoperable network transformation technologies based on SDN and NFV. This allows communication service providers, enterprise IT, and cloud service providers to break free of proprietary third-party solutions and to accelerate the deployment of networking innovations. Driving the growth of open source SDN and NFV technologies are the move to 5G, which is revolutionary in speed and latency perspectives, and the Internet of Things, or IoT, which adds a number of scalability and end-to-end security challenges. To give an industry perspective on what we've been discussing, let's now hear from one of our partners.
Well, SDN and NFV are in the midst of a radical transformation of the network landscape already, and this spans enterprise, telecommunications, cable, cloud, actually all industries. And at the core of the transformation is a fundamental paradigm shift where open software and open source software is going to replace purpose-built hardware. Ultimately, open source projects are going to share a common development environment and integration points, and they're going to be built with integration in mind and even coordinated release plans down the road. What we need to see is more of a framework for creating an open source networking project that I think is going to take a bit longer. As a matter of fact, one of my responsibilities at the Linux Foundation is to start to think along these lines and to sort of paint a bigger, broader picture so that the operator community who's interested in open source can actually start to understand how these projects might work together. I think it's an exciting development that operators are actually getting more motivated to participate. And the emergence of the operator, I think, has been the most significant development in 2016 for sure. And again, traditionally, the open source community has been really dominated by vendors who not only are contributing the lion's share of resources, but they also have the expertise that's necessary for an open source project. And as operators continue to get involved, they are actually coming at it from a different perspective, which is to provide use cases and guidance and requirements and even priorities, so they can actually help shape the scope and direction of the project. Well, the transformation is certainly being accelerated by open source, and I think Intel, as a leader in not just computer silicon, of course, but also networking silicon, I think they've been, as a result, they've been very active in the open source community. And Intel has also committed publicly to open standards and open source and has been supporting many open source networking projects, certainly in the Linux Foundation, and they've been very active in the Linux Foundation. And they've also taken on significant leadership roles within a number of different projects. So I think Intel is just going to continue to be able to provide a path to help other organizations figure out how to make this leap that we talked about earlier between the hardware world and the software world. And a lot of it is going to travel through Intel silicon, so I think they have a unique contribution to be able to make to the community.
Open source communities play a vital role in the development and enhancement of technologies we use every day. If you want to get involved, please consider joining one of the many open source communities. Currently, developers and testers are hard at work in a wide range of important communities, including things like the Data Plane Development Kit, or DPDK, Open Daylight, or ODL, OpenStack, Open vSwitch, also known as OVS, OPNFV, the Open Platform for NFV, and many, many more. I'd like to thank you for watching today's podcasts. I'd like to encourage you to come back and watch our future podcasts. And if you've missed any of our past podcasts, please go back and watch those now.